Hello everybody, I'm in this room here. Welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, Old World Blues. In the last episode, we worked our way through our focuses here as the Enclave, where we had to choose a new president and ultimately therefore select an ideological path to follow between either the purists or the reformers. I ended up choosing the purists, and so worked through that. And we were ultimately planning to try to attack the den, because they have resources that we need. Now, for this episode, I want to do something a little bit different, because that decision seems to be like a major decision that is going to govern the entire playthrough from this point on. And I did get some comments that the reformer path might be a little bit more interesting. What I decided to do was we're going to go back. We're going to go back to the beginning of last episode. We're going to replay through the same time frame that we played through last episode. But this time we're going to choose the reformer path, see how that progresses. And then when we come back for next episode, we'll make an ultimate decision as to which path we're actually going to follow. So I'd like to see what the beginning of both paths look like, and then I'll make my call. So, let's get started. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my army, and we're going to line it up.
Enclave here.
Oh, there's Lance's cohort taking out Blue Rose Society. Right, and we need to hide our activities from the NCR. And some of the duplicate events we're just not going to worry about. We're just going to go right past. Warrior training. We're going to go for militia training. Now, I just need to remember what I actually did. Alright. So we spread the word to get the vertebrates. And we're going to still do the same thing. Let's get everything but the actual presidential choice. First, let's go Better Call Sal. I'll hold off here. Now, the whole Navarro event hasn't happened yet. Let's deploy those vertibirds we got. I'm just going to go ahead and get that. Alright, old allies. Salvatore's. Yeah, we brought them in to get an additional research slot. Which... Basic tools. Alright, there's the chaos in the Navarro territories. I think I went with barrage balloons after that. Now, in theory, we could add the gliders. I'm not sure I really want to do the gliders. We have vertibirds. Alright, never forget our past. Research finished for military heritage. Alright, that, this is a tech it gives us. Alright. Our choice. Here we go. Alright, yes. And we will not be pushed around. Let's go ahead and get that. Oh, I need 8 more political power. Like another 2 weeks. All right. So last time we went with Franklin Anderson. This time we're going to go with Douglas Granite. So let's see where that goes.
Was the night before Christmas, when all through the
Enclave here.
not even a mouse.
These are all rapid response. There's some power armor infantry.
In hopes that Saint Nicholas, that's me, soon would be there.
All right. We'll get some stuff in training. Yeah, we just need those advanced components. Got work assignments, dedicated workshops. Yeah, start justifying that war goal because it's going to take forever. Hills Orange State Carbon was annexed. Okay, this is all new. Okay. We'll work our way through this. Reinforcement gets priority. We're going to put low equipment priority on the auxiliaries. Upgrades are going to get low priority. All right. A disturbing photograph has been circulating among cafeteria staff involving one of the staff members intentionally Handling ingredients inappropriately. Do I sacrifice some political power for war support? I will. Stonks. I'm not quite sure what the index fund is, or even if they even exist. Against advice from our esteemed advisor Jeremy, this investment has been great. Gain plus 60,000 bottle caps. I don't know why that isn't showing up here. I don't know if that's just a mechanic that the Enclave just doesn't participate in, or what. Alright, Sins of the Father. Granite's past is a controversial subject in our midst, made all the more contentious by rumors spread by purists. The cause is Granite's father and his relationship to the Chosen One. The purists accuse Granite's father of treason for aiding the Chosen One and destroying the oil rig, but lack any evidence. Even veteran members of Granite Company admit that Granite just showed up one day as an infant, and Granite Sr. never spoke to who Granite's mother was. Granite himself grew up never knowing who his mother was, or what happened on the rig. Arriving at the depot brought all these to a head, but Granite brushed it off. Despite the fact that denied these allegations is nothing but political slander, Douglas remembers clearly what his father told him on his deathbed about that fateful day on the oil rig. This is probably reference to older Fallout games. Let's see. Aided the Chosen One and then went on their separate ways. Mutant sympathies, non-core manpower, plus 2%. Speaking of the Chosen One, let me tell you who your mother was. That's basically the same thing, but with a base stability reduction. War support and stability, I'm gonna take over non-core manpower. Alright, Granite grew up on the campaign trail with his father, learning from radical officers, malcontent grunts, and jaded followers. When not learning basic skills such as reading, writing, and math by follower teachers, he was taught by various old members of the Enclave to ensure he had an American upbringing and be proud of his heritage. Aside from basic soldiering skills and how to field strip a laser rifle, Granite was raised with a fervent hatred of communism. Sadly, 200 years of Enclave propaganda and living on a rig run of the command economy meant the members of the Granite Company were left with a vague understanding of what communism was. As such, Granite he gets anti-communist, war support plus 5%. Granite's hatred of communism will play a role in future events and is necessary to unlock anti-communist propaganda. Base stability. I do need some more support. Let's go this route, the anti-communist route. Douglas's first contact. When Douglas was 17-year-old, he was finally allowed to follow his father on a mission, and Granite established himself every bit the man his father was, and even more. He piloted vertibirds to Vancouver, supped with Rio soldiers along the river, and learned much from the people. Much to his father's chagrin, he went, in a way, native. Nonetheless, Granite Sr. shed tears of pride, giving him a position with the company where he quickly rose to the ranks despite his father's influence. Until a chill day in November 2274, when the Taps played for Granite Sr. And so passed the last American. For Granite Company and the last of the Western Enclave, they saw it up to Granite to write the epilogue. To Granite himself, he decided instead to write the next chapter. With determination, he took charge of his father's company, and on his first mission leading Granite Defense Company, he received an emergency distress signal. The message sounded desperate and came from... I guess this is going to govern who... These are scouts. Brotherhood Patrol fighting super mutants. NCR platoon fighting raiders. I don't know what this is going to do, so I'm going to go with an NCR platoon fighting raiders. When Douglas arrived with his team, the situation of the defenders had grown more dire. Granite and his company stayed out of the sight to determine the next move. Below them... Ruthless. Justify war goal time minus 10%. Resistance target minus 5%. Manpower plus 200. Or we get charismatic, improved relations opinion, daily compliance gain. So this is more if we want to, I guess, puppet our targets and then absorb them. And this is more if we want to straight annex because of the resistance target. Now, I tend to do like the puppet and then absorb route, especially early on, because you then get all those areas as cores. It's easier to make puppets in peace conferences, that sort of thing. So you know what? Look at the charismatic. Alright, Granite's Exodus. Granite Company was famous on the West Coast, having conducted operations from Seattle to Rio and everywhere in between. When Granite took over, their base of operations was mercenary capital of Northern California. Granite always felt at home there and never knew why. If things played out differently, he'd still be there. However, with the encroachment of the NCR in the Navarro territory, suspicion was being raised about the Granite Company outfit. Just where did they get their power armor training? When the signal from Sierra Army Depot was intercepted thanks to a decoder device sold to them from some crazy caravan merchant, he and Granite Company made the trek to Nevada. Before they left, they made sure to salvage as many weapons as possible. We get a bunch of equipment. 350 manpower, change in popularity of intellectuals 5%. The weapons would be nice. But we have no manpower. We could really use it. Change in popularity of intellectuals. We'll say brought along friends and family. Okay. So now we head down the reform route. Alright, smoke signals. We get Ohm's Law. We don't have the political power. Alright, barrage balloons. Now, I don't think we're going to need to go down the transport because we have vertebrate transports. Right? We can make vertebrate transports, so we can make a transport aircraft. Service manpower, air defense, agility. Air defense. $1,500 kilometers, 1,000 kilometers. This actually has some air attack. Not that worried about that. Much more expensive to produce, but yeah, we have them, so we're not going to worry about that. I think what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the industry. Let's get organized agriculture. Low manpower, yeah, that's thing. We have all the manpower built in, okay. We just need equipment. All right. Legitimacy tutorial. First time centuries, our authority has extended beyond core Enclave members. Considering our previous interactions with these newfound citizens could easily be misinterpreted as attempted genocide, proving ourselves the legitimate government will take time and effort. Certain choices we make will increase or decrease our legitimacy. Higher legitimacy comes with bonuses to our rule, allows for new choices on our focus tree. Low legitimacy will come with penalties. Each until we find a way to keep the Wastelanders loyal regardless of their opinions. You'll notice that the negative effects of our low legitimacy are currently very weak. The effects of legitimacy become more severe as our population expands beyond core Enclave members. War support. You know what? We'll just say I'll keep that in mind. A lament for reform. The reformer faction of the Enclave have never had it easy. First and foremost, many of their better natures often led them to desert the Enclave the first chance they got, or do whatever they could to resist the terrible actions they were forced to commit. What's more, those who remain often had to keep their heads down due to machinations of the President Richardson. Those hubris bit him hard in the end, with many reformers banished to the mainland, making up many of the survivors, while the hardline leadership went down with the rig. However, both are at odds for the future of the Enclave. The younger generation, having grown up outside the insular culture of the rig, have a more open view of the world around them, nurtured, of course, by their parents. However, many are beholden to their parents and are unsure of their future, given they were forced to flee their homes for no crime aside being alive. As Granite addressed the assembly, he could feel the uncertainty within the room. Today is the beginning of a new era, and many of you entrusted that to me. Among the series of events in my life, nothing could have filled me with greater anxiety what you have given me today. On the one hand, I was summoned by my country. A test I barely know, whose voice I could never hear until now. My fellow Americans, I hear you. I am but your humble servant. I will put down my Gatling laser and take up the oath of office you good people have all seen fit to hand me. We shall enter this new world with fire in our eyes, and pride in our heart. I will take the political power. There we go. Okay, so that has cracked open the whole focus tree. Okay. Okay. Infiltrate the NCR. Gain annex war goal against whomever controls New Reno. Not ready for that just yet. Presidential victory speech. Alright, we'll go down that route first. That seems the most logical one. The Radiant Times. First Citizen Lynette wins re-election. Vault City will be led by First Citizen Lynette for half a decade longer, with the incumbent First Citizen announcing their appointment for a second term earlier after the first ever popular election for the position. We are going to have to deal with New Reno, but... Okay. Did we just finish? No. This man's argument. Maybe it was wishful thinking or naivete that many thought life in the depot was going back to normal after the election. That could be further from the truth. Instead, things were only seeming to ramp up. Granite's ruthless charisma had instilled and inspired a fire in many, ready to tackle what future would bring. The first order of business was restoring the Enclave's armed forces. The depot had begun transforming from a dilapidated ruin in the pre-war era to a rightful post-war fortress in its own right. Vertibirds were being reworked, automated defenses were coming back online, and those who couldn't join the armed forces were making up the beginnings of a proper support corps. Said army, however, is anything but. While all identified as Enclave citizens now, those who had experience were all from different walks of life, from Granite's mercenary outfit to former Vault City security, to Anderson's Bloomfield garrison. Even a small percentage of the oldest members of the third generation Enclave since the rig fell, barely older than 17, and had never even seen combat, let alone hold a laser rifle. They all stood in loose formation, kept together by their seniors. A heavy set of power-armored footsteps approached. All looked to see Command Sergeant Major Dornan take to the pad and survey what could be explained as a formation. Been given a simple task by the new president: train the next generation of American soldiers. The senior members began ushering everyone into a tighter formation, but one, a kid with half his uniform unbuttoned, stood off to the side. He had no interest in any of this, and his mother sent him here to have him learn manners. Dornan walked over, his demeanor eerily calm. "I'd get in formation, son." Kid looked at him and smirked. "I don't have to take orders from you. You're not my dad."
I am not his sir! I work for a living, you moron! You will call me Sergeant or Sergeant Dornan. Do you understand me?
Okay. Fortunately, it was a very fast learner. Everyone did push-ups until Dornan got tired. Okay. Traitors in the officer corps. What do you mean we can't sack those traitors? Shouted Granite. Granite never experienced treasonous officers before, but he always relied on his charisma to keep dissenters in line. Unfortunately, the Enclave's officer corps was dominated by purists who see Granite as an illegitimate president. Now his own subordinates were subverting orders and even scheming amongst themselves to replace their commander-in-chief. Colonel Stevenson sighed, "Believe me, I want those bastards out of the officer corps too, but right now the officer corps is dominated by purists or purist sympathizers. If we launch a purge, it will almost certainly trigger a coup." Grant had no experience with the situation. "What do you suggest instead?" "We play the game," Colonel Stevenson replied, "promoting pro-reformists to officer positions, convincing the fence-sitters, and even a few training accidents. When the purists are weak enough, we strike. Oh, and one more thing," continued Colonel Stevenson. "I suggest you securely lock the door to your quarters." Replace Enclave officers with treacherous officers. Military leader costs. Starting level of new army leaders. Okay. Traitors among the scientists. In one of the meeting rooms in Sierra Armor Depot, Dr. Anderson was giving a speech to the scientists at the depot. Many of the scientists were involved in FEV experiments, including the famous FEV Curling 13. Those surprised that they lean overwhelmingly purist, and Anderson was preaching to the choir. "My fellow scientists," Anderson said, "we have suffered too much at the hands of the mutants. We have been unjustly persecuted for only performing our research. Research was meant to save America, but the mutants think otherwise. They blew up the rig and sacked Navarro, nearly killing the American dream. Countless colleagues have died by their hands. Even worse, to this day, they hunt us down over fabricated crimes." Crocodile tears fell from Anderson's eyes. "I myself was a member of the Chemical Corps. I lost many good men when the rig was destroyed. I feel the pain you all experienced. We'll never forget their mutants. I will never forgive the mutants. The fool who calls himself president would make peace with those mutants. Make peace with the monsters responsible for suffering. This is completely unacceptable. The president must be removed from office for all our dead colleagues." Alright, we got treacherous scientists. Alright. I think we're at the end of the episode. So, we'll go ahead and stop here. And then I will make a decision. And we'll see which way we're going to go next episode. But for now, we will stop here. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.